Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Celebrity Soiree, the evening version of Celebrity Breakfast, live from the Woodway Country Club in Darien. I'm John Gutman, Executive Director of New Covenant Center in Stamford, Connecticut. Tonight, we are trying something new during COVID. Our sponsors were given a few tickets to invite their friends and colleagues to attend tonight's fundraiser, and about 90 of you have decided to join us. They are seated, socially distanced, I can promise, to watch this 1 hour long program along with all of you in virtual land, and we appreciate it. A record number of 18 sponsors are supporting us tonight. They are individuals, they are couples, families, private foundations, area businesses, and national businesses like ESPN Audio and NBC Sports. I want to welcome the Lower Fairfield County husband and wife sports personalities, Hannah Storm of ESPN and Dan Hicks of NBC. They will be joining us shortly. And we are excited to present to volunteer and New Covenant Center Advisory Council member Jose Rivera this year's 6th Annual Founders Award. I want to thank our Celebrity Soiree Committee. They've worked very hard to create this live hybrid event. And a shout out goes to Tom Kane and his advisory council and the Catholic Charities team led by my boss, Mike Donahue, and their governance board who support us every day of the year, 365 days a year. I am most appreciative of my staff. Full-timers Betsy Lovegreen, Betsy Lopez, David Lovegreen, one more time, Betsy Lopez, Senior Program Operations Manager, David Lovegreen, Lisa Hines Simpson, Maria Lagos, and Merritt Freeman, as well as part-timers Linda Williams, Renee Alexander, Brandon Johnson, and our newest hire, Chef Renee Telez. They have all done an incredible job during these past 15 months. As you know, our operation has changed significantly, and they all have agreed to be on the front lines every day and providing the meals and services for our guests. We are not here today if it is not for the hundreds of volunteers supporting New Covenant Center, some of whom come in frequently. Many are at home making sandwiches for our partner agencies and meals for our guests. Since March 16th, 2020, New Covenant Center has been open and serving our guests nutritious and fulfilling meals and sandwich bags as well. The method of service, of course, has changed as guests now line up outside and take prepared bags in a grab-and-go style, 365 days a year. We are the only soup kitchen within an 8 miles that did not even partially shut down during the pandemic. Our food pantry remains open 3 days a week and 1 Saturday per month for in-person shopping, safely, of course. The pantry and kitchen are cleaned and sanitized on a daily basis in accordance with local, state, and diocesan rules. We now provide daily meals and lunches to several area nonprofits, including Inspirica House and Pacific House, the overnight shelters, Building One Community, and Always Reaching for Independence, our landlord. In total, we now distribute daily 400 to 500 meals versus 175 at this time last year. There are still issues about bringing in guests, but we see the day when that might happen. Challenges will occur, but I am hopeful that our guests will resume in-center dining very soon, along with other services such as showers, immigration counseling, and job skills programs. I have to tell you, it has been heartbreaking at times, especially during the winter, when we were not able to secure a larger emergency temporary space for our guests. Recently, I asked one of our longtime meal and shower guests how he was coping. His answer, and I quote, "Happiness is the absence of pain." I asked, "How happy are you?" His answer, "I once read somewhere that happiness is the understanding between reality and desire. And then he said, thank you, and God bless New Covenant Center. While I appreciated his thanks for the meals we were able to provide, it crystallized for me the trend that we have seen the past few years. That while hunger is a 3 times a day challenge, mental illness, substance abuse, and homelessness is growing exponentially. In our mission statement, we say we want to provide a safe environment and long-term solutions and self-sufficiency. To that end, we are exploring different services to find that path for those who truly want that help. Something along the line of having a caseworker or a crisis prevention and intervention specialist. We have hungry people who want more help. New Covenant Center wants to provide more than a handout. We want to provide a hand up. I thank you, all of you, those in virtual land and those in our audience today, for coming. And thank you so much for your support this evening. Now, as I said earlier, if it isn't for our volunteers, we aren't here tonight.
So much for coming to volunteer and help us. We need volunteers to come down to the Covenant Center. We also need donations. We need food donations. There's a wish list out on Amazon, and we just want to thank all of our donors, our supporters in this critical time.
What did you bring?
It's a mixture of
All good stuff.
fruits,
Vegetables.
vegetables.
We have some frozen meat.
We're loading bags for lunch and dinner for the guests that come to New Covenant House. And they'll be served outside with kind of a nutritious meal and some fun things in there too, a few cookies.
When the COVID crisis hit, we had quite a number of volunteers who then couldn't volunteer, and so I made the decision to try to come at least once a week. This week, I will be here twice.
It's a wonderful facility, a huge facility that does so much for the Stamford community. It's not just a food pantry, and that's what I really like about it. So a lot to do and a lot of people to help.
We're the closest to New York City. We're a big city with a lot of people that struggle at the edge here, and of course we get hit hard.
Our requirements have actually tripled to almost quadrupled. We went from serving maybe 150 meals a day up to 700 to 900 or greater per day.
I'm here at Covenant House to help out people and families. I also am a teacher during the week, and students, we need you. We have so many goods to be packed. It's so important.
Recently, we had the pleasure of making grab-and-go sandwiches for the New Covenant Center. We kind of realized how many people in our area really need help just getting food on an everyday basis.
I think it's such an important project that if we protect ourselves with our masks and our hairnets and our heavy clothing, we should be okay, and it's more important at the moment to get this done for the people who might not have anything to eat.
We were making sandwiches, and we came to deliver the sandwiches and saw what a great thing the community here was doing for the people of Stamford, and we decided to start volunteering as a family. We get so much more out of it than we give, so it's a wonderful opportunity and we love it.
It really has been truly amazing to show Sydney how important it is to give back to the community, see her embrace it and have a good time with it.
Also knowing that the food that I was preparing was going to people who really needed it was a big thing for me. And then especially when we were serving it, you'd be able to physically give it to people and see how happy they were to be picking up their food.
We've just completed making about 50 sandwiches for the New Covenant Center. We know it's an important thing to do. People are hungry and they need this food.
I was so honored that I was able to run a food drive last December to benefit the center. Together with the help of my Fairfield Prep community, along with friends and family in Darien, we were able to raise over $1,000 in online donations, as well as fill an entire Chevy Tahoe with non-perishable foods.
Over the summer, 1111 donated over 2,000 sandwiches to the New Covenant Center. and we hope that everybody in our troop continues donating to people in need.
During COVID, not a lot of people had access to food like they used to before COVID when it was more accessible. So as a troop, we wanted to take the bread and the sandwich fillings that we had and just make sandwiches to help people in need, because obviously COVID was a very hard time for us all. So whatever we could do to help is very important for our community.
Thank you to all the wonderful volunteers and donors of New Covenant Center. George Bodenheimer is a cable industry pioneer. He started in the ESPN mailroom and retired a few years ago as executive chairman of ESPN. George has been a longtime supporter of New Covenant Center and was one of our early speakers at this very event. I am pleased that George has agreed to be our discussion leader this evening. George?
Oh, thank you very much, John. Truly a pleasure to be here tonight, and it's great to be here to welcome Hannah Storm and Dan Hicks to the New Covenant Center event this evening. Thank you so much for being here. They're not only a powerhouse couple in their own right, but they also collectively represent a dynamic duo of corporate support for NCC, with Hannah representing ESPN and the Walt Disney Company, and Dan with NBC Sports and Universal. So we're certainly pleased to have the support of those two giant companies. And I want to personally thank NBC's Pete Bavacqua and ESPN's Norby Williamson for their support this evening. Hannah Storm. We've known each other for a long time. We could also have a long time just introducing you, but here's my summary.
No, can you make it like really quick?
Journalist, producer, director, trailblazer, role model for women in the sports media business, the media business overall, Sports Center anchor at ESPN now, covered everything from Wimbledon to the NBA, Super Bowl, you name it, Hannah's covered it. Prior successful stints at CNN and NBC and CBS, Hannah is a graduate of the University of Notre Dame.
I knew that was going to get a good response.
It's the right crowd. I put that in for Bill Fessler specifically.
Yes.
But, Dan Hicks, also a giant in the business, 21 years as the leader of NBC's golf effort and their lead golf host. 11 Olympics. He's done the NBA, NFL, Notre Dame football. Also had a successful stint at CNN prior to NBC, and is a University of Arizona graduate. I can assure you...
It didn't get any...
I know.
There we go.
Bear down, somebody?
Bear down.
All right. Well,
one person.
One person? Out here in Connecticut, that's huge.
I can assure you one thing, aside from all of their actual credentials, they are both consummate professionals and highly respected in our business. So again, thank you both for being here tonight. We know that you have busy schedules, yes, with a couple of demanding day jobs, but also with the real work of raising 3 daughters.
Right.
So Hannah, happy belated Mother's Day to you. We could easily talk sports all night and have a good time doing it. But since our time is limited, let's talk sports first, and then we'll change direction to the reason we're here tonight. That was such a beautiful video and powerful video that John just showed. But the reason we're all here tonight, and that, of course, is to encourage a spirit of helping others. Both of you have grown to the pinnacle of your careers and in your chosen profession. How did you each get started in the business? Hannah?
Well, my dad was a sports executive growing up. So for as long as I can remember, when it wasn't a school night, I was headed to a basketball game or something like that. And I just fell in love with sports. It was fun. And, you know, when I was at Notre Dame in the early 80s, you know, women were not a part of sports broadcasting at all. So it was a very out of the box profession to want to be involved in. But I thought, you know, covering sports versus city council meetings was probably the direction that I wanted to go in. And it was hard. I got, you know, hundreds of rejections and, you know, people that, you know, back in the day it was a totally different mindset. I don't want to hire a woman. My audience won't accept a woman. Those kinds of things. So I will say that it was quite an uphill climb, but my dad always said, you know, you just need one door open, you know, just one person to say yes. So I always thought, you know, I didn't really think about sort of the overwhelming odds and, you know, hundreds of rejection letters. I was like, I just need one person to take a chance on me. And that's kind of how I kept operating and just visualizing, you know, what I wanted to do. But I will say it was growing up and developing that love of sports from just being a young child and being around it, and my mom screaming at referees and all of that kind of thing. I knew the names of every referee in the ABA because my mom, who was a college basketball player, yelled at them. But yeah, it was, that's really how I got drawn into it as a woman, which it was not a profession at all that you could look to and see any women involved in. So it's pretty cool.
Well, you certainly
Yeah.
climbed the mountain and served as
Yeah.
a role model for
Yeah,
many,
well,
many,
then
many
you want
people.
people after you to see you doing the same thing so that they know that it's a viable career opportunity. So I also call play-by-play for the NFL on Amazon, you know, and that's something that, you know, women have never done. So I've done 3 seasons doing that. So you want to do something that other people can look at and say, hey, I want to do that. I want to be that person. I want to be the next. You know, so it's like super gratifying. There's so many women in the business now.
true trailblazer. Dan,
Yeah.
what about you?
Well, I just love sports. And Hannah talked about the passion that she had for sports. And I, as a kid, growing up, would reach for the sports page first. That was it for me. I played sports year-round. And as the years went on, when I realized I wasn't going to be a Major League Baseball shortstop anywhere, and I didn't quite have the game to take it to that level, I just wanted to be a part of sports. And I was mesmerized by the television and really radio aspect of listening to a team and listening to a person enhance your experience in sports by being able to describe it. And I would sit with the radio in my bed at night and listen to Vin Scully. I lived in Tucson, Arizona, so he was like the biggest signal I could get. And I would listen to Vin Scully just paint the picture, and I thought, wow. I was just mesmerized by that whole you know, TV radio aspect of it. So I went to school. I was a journalism major at the University of Arizona, bear down. And I just wanted to get as much experience as I could, so I was a sports writer for the Arizona Daily Wildcat, which was the student newspaper. My first job behind a mic was the public address announcer for the women's softball team.
Yes.
I answered an ad in the paper, in the student newspaper, for $25 a game, which I thought was, you know,
That's a lot.
That was some
Yeah.
beer money at Dirtbags, you know, at the local bar. So I was the last guy to audition, and I said, you know what, if I don't give this my all, I'm just going to seem like the rest of the 24 guys. So I gave it the, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to McHaleson. I did this whole thing, and I got the job, and that kind of got me going, and then I did local television there and radio, and ended up at CNN Sports where I met Hannah, and then we both got hired at NBC Sports, and that's pretty much a thumbnail sketch of how we got together. So
Yeah.
Well, that's
You
just,
got more than you bargained
no,
for in
that's
that
just a
answer.
great, that's a great story. So Hannah, you are one of ESPN's highest profile Sports Center anchors. I love watching you work regularly with ESPN vet Jay Harris.
Yeah.
Sunday morning, it's a staple in our house on Sunday
Aw.
mornings. And one of the things that I think makes you great with Jay is you have a conversation with Jay. Obviously, you
Right.
guys have a personal affinity for one another.
Mhm.
It feels like you're having a conversation, which of
Right.
course translates to the audience. This past Monday, did you get Sunday off from ESPN for Mother's Day?
I did. He worked for me Sunday, so I could have Mother's Day off.
Okay,
Isn't
well,
that nice?
I saw you Monday morning.
Yeah.
And you guys had a nice feature on all the wonderful Mother's Day tributes that
Mhm.
Major League Baseball did, and it was just fun, and you
Right.
guys are laughing, and it's what makes your team so great. So
Thank you.
tell us, what's it like to do that show week in and week out?
Yeah, I do think that, because I had, you know, been at NBC and done, you know, everything from Olympics to, you know, NBA Finals and World Series, and then I went to CBS News and covered huge major news events, but I really felt like SportsCenter is, honestly, I know that we make it look easy and super relaxed. It's a very difficult show to execute. And it's an iconic brand. So I guess for me, SportsCenter, just to have been a part of sort of that pantheon of broadcasters involved, I always felt like it was a great honor, and that I give it my all. So the show that you watched, I got up at 3 in the morning and I started writing and
Pure
researching
glamour, just getting
and
up
all
at
of
3 in
that.
the morning.
Huh?
Yeah. Pure glamour, right? Getting up at 3
Yeah, I
in the
got it.
morning.
Yeah, it's like, exactly. And then I just feel like, and I enjoy working with different people, but I do feel like at this point in my career, I've been very blessed to be paired with another person who we kind of have the same sense of humor. We laugh at each other all the time. We tell jokes in commercial breaks, and we sing. We play, crazy music. We make each other laugh. And I feel like all of that carries over to, we always are like telling each other that we love each other. It's just like a real blessing to work with somebody who is 110% supportive of you, not competitive, but supportive of you. And that's in our business, that's really a rarity. And I think Dan feels the same way about the golf crew that he's been with. And you just, when you come upon those relationships, you just feel super blessed, because what is work if you're not going to go and have a good time? Right. You gotta enjoy it. You gotta have fun. You gotta make it fun.
It's more of a team thing than you think.
Yeah, it's totally a team thing. And it's more fun when it's a team thing, when it's not all about you. So you go in, you have a lot of laughs, you work really, really hard, and that's the way you can sustain the grind. All those hours and show after show after show. It's just make it a point to enjoy it. So thank you so much for recognizing that. And he's like you, he's like such a good listener. So I love Jay, my on-air partner is a good listener. Dan's a good listener. It's awesome.
Well, it comes across.
Do I have a choice?
No.
I don't know.
You do not. Well, you don't, but he does.
That's true.
So Dan, well, by the way, it comes across on the screen.
Yeah,
so great work.
Thank you.
So Dan, the Tokyo Olympics are 60 days away.
Wow.
Obviously, the
Crazy.
pandemic has created havoc with scheduling, fans, health and safety concerns. I understand that NBC is going to have really a fraction of its normal production crew in Tokyo, and it'll be spread out in Tokyo, New York City, and right here in Stamford, Connecticut. You have such a major role at the Olympics. How will that affect your job?
Yeah, it's the biggest challenge, I think, one of the biggest challenges in broadcast history. And I don't say that lightly, because I really think it is. When you are bringing the world to one city in this pandemic, and there's still a lot of things that are very challenging in Japan. 2% of the people have been vaccinated there, which is hard to believe. And the public actually doesn't want the Olympics there. There's a lot of challenges, but I will be going over, I do the swimming, but we are only sending over 3 big production crews: swimming, gymnastics, and track and field. Now, as the years have gone on, budget concerns and the cost of doing the Olympics, we have learned to do more of these shows and more of these sports remotely, and then the pandemic just kind of sped that up, so we feel pretty confident that we can still give everybody the Olympic experience that they're used to in their living rooms and on all of these digital platforms, which has expanded as well. But it's going to be a challenge. The footprint in Stamford, Connecticut, where our offices are right next to Chelsea Piers and NBC Sports Group, is going to be 800 to 900 people in there every day, round the clock. Huge amount of people in the building. Announcers, analysts, production crews, digital, the whole 9 yards. So our footprint in Tokyo is going to be a lot smaller than it has at other Olympics, no doubt about it. But, I'm
kind of the way the business is going, too.
It is a little bit. I hope it doesn't go totally that way, because to be in touch with the athletes and to be able to do our jobs, and, this isn't really what we signed up for to do, I'm calling the French Open tennis in a couple weeks from the Stamford studios, which isn't quite as nice as Roland Garros in Paris in the springtime. But, and to be able to look over that beautiful clay court and just see the action, and you're looking at your monitor and you're kind of keeping an eye on that, but to see the action and to talk to the athletes and to get a vibe, just be out there in the weather and say, it's a cool, breezy day in Paris. It's beautiful. You don't have that that direct experience.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, we're going to go over, so I'm not going to be minus that experience, but there's going to be a lot of other crews that will be.
But I'll say too, though, like for 3 years, we've been calling Amazon football games from Stamford, Connecticut. So we haven't been to the actual venues to call Thursday night football, which has been, you know, I mean, that's going to be that, you know, that's the norm now, is people sitting at home and calling these events.
Well, it seems like Amazon is doing pretty well. So
Yeah, they got Thursday night football for the next, I don't know how many years, but you know, the nice thing about too, I think with Zoom and everything is you still see people, like you're still able to read their expressions, you're still able to have that personal connection. So I think, whereas the last couple of years we were all talking on the phone, now because everybody was operating on Zoom, now we're able to talk to players and talk to coaches and everything and actually see them, which has been really nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
I know that both of you are very community-minded and involved in philanthropy. Hannah with your own foundation, and Dan showcasing each week on the PGA Tour America's biggest, most prominent companies and what they do in the local communities of the events. Dan, I want to congratulate you on being awarded the MGA Distinguished Service Award last year, right here in our backyard in 2020, acknowledging your support for golf in the metropolitan area. You were cited for your positive work with young adults and specifically what caddying can do for young people. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, first of all, the charitable work and giving back is in the DNA of the PGA Tour. I've had the privilege to be involved with a lot of sports through the years, and there's no other sport that gives back as much as golf does, the PGA Tour. It's amazing. You go to all these tournaments, and every single community is benefiting with millions and millions of dollars to great causes. So I've had that in my DNA because I've been doing the golf for so long, and I think, you know, if you play golf, it's a great way to learn a lot about people and a lot about life. I know I'm biased because I think golf is the greatest game in the world, but I just think it's so special from a young person's standpoint to be able to be exposed to caddy. And so the club that I belong to, I'll take over all my old stuff and a lot of times stuff that I'm not able to wear, that we just get all this stuff, and you give it to these guys and these kids, and not all of them are kids. There are gentlemen and women who have made a living at caddying. So you just to see the look on their faces when you give them a tip at the end of the day, and you give them a golf shirt, you give them some shoes. It's amazing. So it's been a great journey to be on, to be able to give back. So
it's a very distinguished award that you received.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I know that both of you have been to the Greenwich Boys and Girls Club, and my high school friend, former executive director of the club, Bob D'Angelo, is here tonight with his wife, Jan. And Bob created a program at the Boys and Girls Club called Role Models Make a Difference. And Hannah, you and your book, Go Girl, were featured at one of these sessions. Tell us about the book and why you wrote it.
Well, it's really fun. It was basically a parenting guide for, you know, we had 3 daughters, and here we were network sportscasters, and I wasn't sure, you know, how to go about teaching my daughter how to ride a bike, or should she be in soccer at age 3, you know, not really, you know, understanding where things were going, or why wasn't that ice skating thing working out. And I decided that, and Dan's laughing because he knows all these moments that we went through, but I was like, well, if I know so much about sports, but I'm a parent, but I really don't know necessarily what to do with these 3 young girls, then I better write a book to, you know, research it, and just like really just for parents, just here you go, here's, you know, your daughters, because sports is so profound for young women in terms of body image and self-confidence, and especially when young girls start to distinguish between themselves and boys and what they feel is feminine and not feminine. And girls, you know, really drop out of sports in droves in their early teens. And sports are so powerful in terms of academic self-confidence, going on into business. See, you know, if you look at women in C-suite jobs, some insane percentage, like over 80% of them were involved in sports growing up. So it's very, very profound on a number of levels. And I just felt like it was important to have a primer for parents, and also to make people, you know, sort of comfortable, but also understand the research that was behind it, like just how critical it was for their daughters, just as critical as math or science, being physically active, being part of a team. The business models of principles that we rely on in this country are all based, essentially it's a team sports model, as we've talked about tonight. So just wanted to make sure that girls were, on the same playing field as the guys, and that it really starts with parents.
Well, I know from Bob that you made a big impact on a lot of young girls at the club, so good stuff.
Bob's awesome.
I know you both have taken an interest in learning about NCC and what all we're doing here. As local residents, Greenwich residents, what do you feel it means to the fabric of our community to have a New Covenant Center in operation?
It's invaluable.
Huge.
And I'd heard about the New Covenant Center, but until I watched the video, until I read more about it before coming to this event tonight, I was absolutely blown away by the scope of it, by the people who day in, day out give of their time. And to keep this ball rolling through the pandemic, my gosh, it's hard enough to do it without going through those challenges. My hat's off. I just have so much respect for everybody in that video and all the countless other people who've been involved in this unbelievable operation. It's an operation. I mean, it's. I just have tremendous respect for what this whole thing is all about.
I was watching some of the young kids that were involved, and we worked at soup kitchens when I was growing up, primarily in like Memphis, Tennessee, because our church, our Catholic church, was located in downtown Memphis, and it was just sort of part of what we did. Service was a huge part of our lives growing up, and then subsequently, one of my brothers ran No Kid Hungry, and then he's the head of social services for the state of Virginia now. So food insecurity has been a huge part of his life. He represents all the people in his position around the country in the area of food insecurity. And my other brother worked with immigrants, and it just really, it really hit home watching sort of these families and the generations that work together at New Covenant Center, and also just the fact that the need is so exponentially greater than even it was before. I mean, it's astounding in our country, the level of food insecurity, and now obviously with the economic hardships that people are enduring. The fact that New Covenant Center was able to scale up and adjust and didn't miss a beat during COVID, to me really speaks to the flexibility, the support, but also really tonight what we're here for is we need a lot more support. Because the work they have proven that the work that we are doing is profound, that it is effective, that it is needed, and that need is here to stay and getting greater. So I really applaud New Covenant Center not having to have events like this, not having to be out there for the way that they've adjusted, for what they've been able to do. But now we really have to pull together, I think, and really devote even more resources to this incredible organization which has managed to work through the pandemic, and now we'll have so much long-term work to do. And additionally, the area of mental health, which I'm very thrilled to know that we have right, holistically, right, we have to feed our bodies, feed our souls, and so many people struggling with mental health as well. So really appreciate that.
Well, that was extremely well said on both of you. Just like TV, we've got to stay on time. So,
I know.
How about a big round of
Commercial
applause
break.
for Hannah Storm and Dan Hicks?
Yeah.
How about our interviewer?
Thank you so much. All right.
Such a good interviewer, too.
Oh, yeah. This way. They moved the, oh, no, this way. Oh, this way.
Good evening. All right. Good evening. My name is Paul Harenstein, and I'm a member of the Board of Advisors of New Covenant Center and past chairman of the board. And it gives me great pleasure to have the opportunity to present this year's Founders Award to my friend and colleague, Jose Rivera. Jose began volunteering at the food pantry, which was held at the Uritt Center in those days, back in around June of 2013, just subsequent to his retirement. He can blame me for recruiting him because I asked him to come join us, just try it out, and 9 years later, he's still here. Then shortly after that, in the fall of 2013, we invited Jose to join the advisory board, which he graciously accepted, and he's been on it ever since, and a very strong contributor. Along with his extended family sitting up front, Jose started one of our fundraisers called Zumba to Zap Hunger. Now, some of you know about it, some of you don't. You'll probably hear more about it toward the end of the year. But it's been a very successful fundraiser since then. And in fact, since he started it, we've raised over $30,000 to help feed the hungry, in addition to the many, many, many truckloads and van loads of non-perishable foods that the people that came to participate have contributed. And then in 2018, Jose assumed responsibility for the Building One Community Food Pantry, which takes place every Saturday, dedicated to the clients of our partner agency. And Jose runs that and has been responsible for making sure it runs smoothly. And of course, if you show up on New Covenant Center on a Friday, which is another one of our pantry days, you'll see Jose running the front desk, making sure that everything is running smoothly. In short, Jose has been a very active member of our advisory board since he joined, and we are certainly happy to have him on board. He always volunteers when needed and will participate in any activity that we need him for. So Jose is truly deserving of this year's award. And without further ado, I'd like to congratulate and thank Jose. Thank you. And I'd like to present Jose with this year's award, and allow me to read it. It says, "The Founders Award to Jose Rivera, an appreciation for helping to make our dream a reality for current and future generations, presented on May 12th, 2021. Congratulations, Jose. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Paul, for your kind words. And thank you for inviting me to the New Covenant Center and inviting me to be a part of the New Covenant Center family many years ago. Thank you to the advisory board. I'm grateful and humbled by your decision to honor me with the Founders Award. Thank you to John Gutman and his staff, to all the members of the New Covenant Center Advisory Board, to all the donors and supporters of the New Covenant Center, and to my fellow volunteers for making it possible for all of us to be able to help those in need in our community. Together, we can all make a difference. I would like to share a very short poem with you by a famous poet, Indian poet, and I quote, "I slept and I dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and I saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy." End of quote. So I hope and pray that being of service to others and helping others will always bring you joy. Thank you, and may God bless you all. Thank you.
Jose, your daughter, Stephanie Rivera. I'd like to introduce Stephanie, Jose's daughter, with her brother Stephen and her mother Sandy. And Jose, family Rivera, started Zumba to Zap Hunger 7 or 8 years ago. We took a year off during the pandemic, but hopefully we'll be back this fall. It's a great event. It's targeted to young people, and your entire family's been involved, and you and your brother representing the next generation. So Laura Obashan had one of our board members had an epiphany at the last board meeting and said, I think the time is right to start a junior board of some kind to support our efforts to reach out to the next generation, which happens to be a phrase we've been using for 3 years that was coined by another board member, Sarita Hanley. So Stephanie has agreed, along with 5 other people, George Bodenheimer Jr., who is here with us tonight, Bridget Hanley, Sarah Hart, Valerie Lopez, and J.D. McPartland, to join this inaugural board. And their charge will be to reach out to younger people through social media using our own initiatives that we have, like Zumba to Zap Hunger, social service nights, and anything new, because you know what? This problem is not going away, as we all know, unfortunately. So cultivating the next generation, and it comes from within them to want to be part of it. So we are thrilled that we are going to have 6 people, and you'll be hearing more about how we're going to be reaching your sons and daughters and maybe grandchildren. So thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it. And congratulations again to Jose. Okay. Why don't you go that way? Thanks. Thanks again. So I never know which camera we're on. I think we're on this one. Now, as we do during every fundraiser, we'd like to bring you inside New Covenant Center so that you can see what we've been doing the last 12 to 15 months. This was edited from November's harvest table, so any reference to March is from March of 2020, when the pandemic officially began.
Our faith teaches us to feed the hungry, to clothe the naked, to help the infirm. And being part of a faith that I take so seriously and too close to my heart, this is what drives me to help New Covenant Center. It's easy, because once you start, you just fall in love with being here, and you fall in love with helping those that come here, because they're good people. They're just hungry.
On Sunday, March 15th, we served our last meal inside to our lunch guests. And since that day in mid-March, for about 7 or 8 months now, we have been serving grab-and-go meals throughout the spring, summer, and fall to a couple hundred guests, in addition to the hundreds of meals we provide for area agency partners.
They have found a way to still feed the people, so many hungry people in Stamford, Connecticut. Since we can't have bake sales anymore, we thought that we would still get the ladies to bake and bring them to New Covenant House.
There are quite a few of these groups that could no longer come back here for various reasons, who will just make food and bring it in. And then we will also go out to the car and retrieve the food.
If you want to look inside, I've got 200 sandwiches, 300 sandwiches. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
So many people are not able to come because of COVID that we really need volunteers desperately.
I've been working here since March, and it's unbelievable, first of all, for me to give back. When I come here, you know, it's humbling. I get so much out of it.
Let me show you about our sandwiches.
Okay, as you can see, this is a storage area. These are for Inspirica. Over here, our lunch is for Pacific House. Over on the first table, that's for ARI.
About 150 to 200 sandwiches are distributed each day to our partners, in addition to all the sandwiches and the meals for our guests that come and line up.
Homelessness is devastating psychologically and physically, and so we make sure that we fill in the gaps with all the services we can provide. And part of that is making sure that all of those we serve actually have nutritional meals. And that's where the New Covenant Center comes in. They've been an incredible partner. Given COVID, I don't know what we would have done without them. New Covenant Center stepped in, and there was just no question that New Covenant Center was going to provide us the food. They just jumped in and said, we got it.
Basically, everybody's just appreciative. And it's not like they're giving us like a banana and a drink. They're giving us a full meal. So I'm just appreciative that they're able to provide.
If I didn't have this place, I think a lot of people would be lost. It'd be hard, and thank God
to be able to get on my way and help other people too, of course, on the way.
We're very fortunate in that the guests that we do serve are very understanding. They know that we're still here in the community and we're still open to serve the need that they have right now.
You just have to check in, sign your names, and do a self-temperature check. All right, thank you.
They have some pretty good rules over here concerning the virus, and we limit the amount of people that are allowed to shop at any one time.
They'll have to wait outside for their turn to come in. Only allow 2 volunteers in the pantry area at one time.
I actually started because of COVID. I recognized that this place must be super busy because of all the furloughed people that can't afford anything. So I wanted to help out, figured my community could use some help.
The message that I want to convey is that how generous people are. If you see these shelves, they're stocked very well. And they do an excellent job,
I had gotten laid off, and that didn't help, the money, the funds, but somehow I came here. They stored me with a lot for me and my family, and I was able to share with someone else, too, that did not have. I like to see people have what they need, because there are so many people that don't have anything. You don't know what some people are going through when you see them. They can smile, laugh, and talk. But what's inside of them, you really don't know what's going on. You don't know what they have and what they don't have.
As you can see, we have helped a lot of families, especially during the last 15 months. Many of them express their appreciation to our staff and volunteers when they shop in our food pantry. A number of families want to share their story about how they came to New Covenant Center and what our services have meant for them. The Pineda family has been utilizing many of our services and programs at the facility for 3 years, including during the pandemic. We are delighted to welcome the Pineda family, or at least half of the Pineda family here with us tonight, is 13-year-old daughter Katie reading her mother Norma's speech about New Covenant Center. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Norma Pineda. I am a wife and a mom of 2 children, Katie in 8th grade and John in 3rd grade. My husband is a hardworking man in the landscaping business. So immediately after COVID began, he lost his job. The pandemic hit us very hard, especially because we did not know where we were going to get our next meal when the money ran out. If it was not for the blessing of New Covenant Center, I am scared to think what would have happened to us. New Covenant Center has been our lifeline in many ways. We are so happy to come to the food pantry each month where we find everything my family needs to eat. The food is healthy and very fresh. We love the choices of fruit and vegetables, and we also love how they are so nice and friendly to us every time we come to the pantry. We all feel welcome there. Every week we come to the center for other reasons, and every time the workers and volunteers are kind to me and my children. Lisa always has a surprise for the children, which is a special snack along with kind words. In the beginning of COVID shutdown, I would go to the stores to try to buy masks and sanitizers, but we could never find any. Each time we go to the center, we would receive clean masks and gels for us to take home. Because of these gifts, our family felt safe and protected during this year with COVID. When the new school year began, the children received new backpacks, notebooks, and pencils. This spring, Katie graduates from 8th grade, and the children received a very special gift from the center. They each got a gift card so she and her brother could go out to buy a nice outfit to wear on her graduation day. These gifts of clothing mean so much to us, and we are super grateful. Even though I cannot speak English, I don't have any problems at all in getting help at the center. Any person that comes into the center gets a warm welcome, just the same as me, no matter what country they come from. We are all treated like family. I know this is true for all the people that come to the center because my friends and neighbors say the same thing about New Covenant Center. My family and I have never seen this amount of kindness in our lives. My children love to come to New Covenant Center, and every day before dinner, the children say a prayer to God to keep the center open. Thank you very much for helping my family and my neighbors. Thank you very much for donating money to keep New Covenant Center open. This gift means the world to many of us in Stamford. May God give you many blessings for your support to this wonderful center.
Thank you, Norma. Beautiful. Yeah.
Wow, how good was that? So Katie is in 8th grade, read her mom's statement. As you can imagine, she was a little bit nervous, but I think she knocked the cover off the ball. Norma, her mom, wrote that, and there was no editing whatsoever. It was purely from the heart, and Norma and Katie, thank you so much. So my name is Mike Donahue. I'm the Executive Director of Catholic Charities of Fairfield County. I appreciate all of you being here today. So many of you in the room and on the phone have been all such great supporters especially over the last 14 months, many of you for many years. So Catholic Charities, we're really about two things, if I could boil it down. One, it's trying to help fill in the gaps that are in the safety net. And number two, try to get people who are in crisis or in poverty to self-sufficiency. And there's nobody that does that any better than the New Covenant Center, led by John Gutman. And John thanked a lot of... John thanked a lot of people early on, and they all needed to be thanked for everything they've done to make this event happen. But I need to thank you, John, for all the incredible work that you do. When this pandemic hit, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. That's a good sports... Vince Lombardi, right? Hannah, wouldn't you say? And the tough really get going in this case. John, despite all the problems, and we had lost all our volunteers due to COVID, or many of them couldn't come in-house like they used to be able to, John just stepped into high gear. At the time when we're just trying to feed our own clients, he's offering food all over town. And, New Covenant Center wasn't closed for one day during the last 14 months, which is incredible. Incredible.
Which I just want to say is a testament to our staff and volunteers. There are a lot of people that were on the front lines with us.
New Covenant Center staff, will you please raise your hand? There's like 7 or 8 people.
Yeah. Up high, yeah.
Up high. There's Betsy Lopez in the back.
David Lovegreen back there. Betsy Lopez in the corner. Lisa Hines Simpson. Somewhere.
And I like to say New Covenant Center staff has been running into the fire for 14 months. So while a lot of us were sequestered at home, making sure that all of our families were safe, this team was running into the fire to make sure people all over Stamford and the greater community were fed. And again, it was mentioned earlier, we went from 150, 175 meals a day to 600 to 700 meals a day, which is incredible. So again, I mentioned, the two things we do at Catholic Charities is the safety net. When you think about what New Covenant Center does, how can we let anybody in Fairfield County go hungry, right? I mean, this is one of the wealthiest counties anywhere in the country. And when this pandemic hit, it's just impossible to think of people not having enough food to eat. And thanks to all of you, people stepped up to make that happen. But the second part, and the part that people don't talk about maybe enough, is all the other things that New Covenant Center does. And that's where we try to help our clients get to self-sufficiency. And hopefully you heard Katie talk about, thanks to all of you, Katie had address to her 8th grade graduation, right? Because of the people that she met at New Covenant Center, helping them with backpacks and school supplies. Homeless people come in and take showers. We have barbers. We have case managers. We're really looking forward to the day when we can sort of totally reopen and welcome people back in. And our whole goal is, I tell John this all the time, we've failed if 2 years from now, the same 100 people are standing out in front of our door. We want, the vast majority of them to get to self-sufficiency, get them job training, try to help them get to a better life. So anyway, one of the things that's always been sort of seared into my brain by my mom, and we just passed Mother's Day. She had a phrase she always said when she saw us, when anybody was in need, she would say to us, there but for the grace of God, go I. And I think that's so, appropriate for what we're doing here tonight. Because, a lot of us, I know myself, I've been pretty lucky. I've been blessed. I've been lucky. I had a lot of people that helped me out along the way. And, but there's a lot of people that haven't had that luck, that haven't had those blessings. And that's why New Covenant Center is here. So, sometimes this can be painful. This is called the generosity. But we're going to move this along quick and with some energy. And the way I want you to think of it, instead of being a call to generosity, this is an invitation to make a tax-deductible investment in the people and the community of Stamford. So we're going to start and see if anybody will make a $5,000 donation. John is going to tell you what a $5,000 donation could do for New Covenant Center.
Before I do, real quickly, just a reminder, we want to remind those here in the ballroom that you have been sent a link to donate on your cell phones. If not, one of the representatives can go around. Also, those who donate will have people coming around with clipboards just to get your name in case. But to make the donation, you have to do it online. And those watching on television, you just click the donate button right in front of you. So with that said, $5,000 will cover 2,000 well-balanced, nutritious dinners in the cafe. So on a typical spring evening, when we have 100 guests for dinner, your $5,000 would pay for almost 3 weeks of dinners for all of those people for 21 days. So we are looking for $5,000. Please, if you could raise your hand up pretty high.
Chris and Liza. $10,000. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you so much.
Liza. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Chris and Liza Pohl, thank you.
It just showed up on the screen. George Bodenheimer just made a $5,000 donation. Where's George? Thank you, George. And thank you so much, Chris and Liza. Oh, there's George right there. Thank you so much. And his...
Appreciate it.
Right. Anybody else? For
Yes.
Bill Fessler. Bill and Mary Beth Fessler for $5,000.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
That is wonderful.
Guy Wazinski. Thank you so much, Guy Wazinski.
Really appreciate that.
$5,000. We know we had one on the phone. Steve and Lucy Galbraith had committed to donate $5,000. So Steve and Lucy, I hope you're out there. Thank you so much.
Many thanks. Thank you. Any others at $5,000?
Right, thanks. How about we go to the $2,500 level? John, what can we do what does $2,500 get us at New Covenant Center? What can that do?
It provides 3 families of 4 people each that shop in our food pantry with groceries for 1 year. 12 people, 3 families of 4 people each, get groceries in our food pantry. And we're talking 22 categories of food. A family of 4 gets 15 to 20 pounds of fresh produce, fish, protein, and lots of vegetables. So $2,500 is what we're looking for at this point.
Anybody help us with 25? Nils Dahl, thank you very much.
Nils Dahl.
Tim and Beth Dwyer, thank you so much. Much appreciated. We can all see you at home. You may think you're on virtually, but Big Brother is watching you. Anybody at home for $2,500? Come on. This is not for me or for John. This is an investment in your community here in Stamford.
But we do want to say that Advisory Council Board Member Mike Boyd, who worked with Paul Harenstein in the capital campaign that brought us our wonderful new facility 6 years ago, couldn't be here with us tonight, but he has pledged $2,500. So we're very happy about that.
Thank you, Mike Boyd. I also see Ginny Wong here on the screen for $2,500.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, that's
much
fantastic.
appreciated.
That is really fantastic. Thank you.
One more back there. I see a hand up. Thank you very much. I can't see who that is, but James, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciated. Very generous. Much appreciated. All right, let's move this along. Let's go to the... Whoa, what do you got? Okay, all right. Come on, here we go.
Our first time doing this.
We can do a who's on first routine if you want. Who's on first? I don't know who's on second. Yeah. All right, go ahead. Let's go. Let's go. Move it along.
Natalie Romo of William Ravis Real Estate is in the room, and she has pledged $2,500 to us as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie and Miguel. Really appreciate it.
I think that's the Arizona people, right? Bear down. Bear down. There we go, Dan. See you. Dan and Anna, thank you so much. Very generous. Thank you so much. So wonderful to have you two here tonight. Thank you so much. Oh, matched with another $2,500 from Bear Down. Uh-oh. Arizona's stepping up. Notre Dame. No, that's good. All right.
Wait. Can we stretch it to other Pac-10 alumni, maybe?
No.
Or is it Pac-12 now?
Okay. All right, Abbott, let's get it going here. Let's go to $1,000. Next level, John, what is $1,000?
Before anybody pledges, just want to say this covers 500 well-balanced lunches in our cafe on a typical spring day. That means 2 weeks of lunches can be served for about 75 people per meal. Or it covers 1 month's supply of PPE items, and we're still going with that. Betsy Lopez is purchasing them every day, and they cover things like sanitizers and wipes for the protection of our volunteers and staff. We're looking for $1,000, please.
Jose, thank you, and Sandy.
Jose,
thank you very much. Nat and Pilar, thank you. Who's that in the back? Is that Karen? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, Cece
Karen
Donahue,
McNair,
is that you?
Tremendous advocate of ours.
Your husband has a nonprofit job. What are you doing bidding like that? But thank you. Who else we got back there? The Rooney's guests. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
Let's get their name there. Thank you very
Somebody
much.
Can get thank you very much, Deborah.
All right, remember those of you at home, we're still alive. For those of you at home can bid too. There's a donate button right on your screen. There's a thing called the mouse. Move that over and hit the button. We'll be good. All right, thank you everybody for your generosity. Let's move. Look, Marianne Kahn just donated $1,000 online.
Well, that's great. Somebody named Null at $2,500.
Yes, phenomenal. Okay, let's go. Let's go to $500, John.
So we cannot provide food if we don't have electricity and propane in our kitchen, or our food pantry, or throughout our facility. Something as basic as that. So $500 pays for 15 days of storing and preparing food. $500. The New Covenant Center.
Did you just bid $5,000, John? I saw your hand go up.
I'm looking for $500.
All right, we've gotten a lot of people in the room already. Anybody for $500? Those of you at home, over here. Oh, look at 2 hands over there. Get those names. Lisa, thank you very much over there in that corner.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
The tickets in that corner were more expensive, too, because you have a nice view, a very fancy seat. So thank you for stepping up for that donation. All right, I see one over here, too. Betsy, we got...
No,
I know Betsy was pointing to somebody over there for $500. Oh, thank you very much. Much appreciated. It's quite a glare off my bald head. But hopefully we can keep that moving. All right, let's go to $250, John. Thank you very much. Make sure we get everybody over here. Thank you. Oh, over here. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Where's our spotters, Tom?
Okay. All right. If you have not had a spotter come up to you, please, in a few minutes, just make sure we get your name so that we have it as a double check. Right. Thank you.
And the tally on the screen is well behind where I believe we are at this point, but it's going up, and we thank you very much.
We are much higher than 115,000. Our goal is 150,000 for the night. Ashley, we'd love to know where we are with everything, so she's working on it now.
Calculating. She's got the abacus over there. She's working hard on it. All right, so let's go to $250. $250, John. What does that get us at New Covenant Center?
Mike, it provides one individual who shops in our food pantry with a full year of nutritional food that is needed. That's 30 meals each month for 1 year for one person. $250.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thanks very much. Get our spotters over here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Really
to both of
appreciate
you
that.
there. Thanks very much. Joe Gallagher, thank you very much. Very kind. Let's get Joe's name over here. We're not going to forget you, Joe. Anyone else that we're not seeing out there? Oh, look, there's some definitely coming in over the online as well. All right, at home, you still open for $250 gifts?
I want to recognize Christian Stops at $1,000. Thank you very much. And,
all right. Somehow they only recognize Dan Hicks on the board. What about Hannah Storm? You know, what is this world? It's like still not being fair to women in the sportscasting world, Hannah. This is just not fair. This is not fair. Can you take Dan's name? Will we put Hannah's name up there, please? All right, let's go for $100. This is our last category. You can get us off the stage. I think you're dying to get us off the stage. Who would do $100 to shut us up?
I sure would
get
get a lot.
There's got to be some people out there that would shut us up. But tell them what it would do, John.
Mike Donahue feeling his oats tonight. Liking that. Provides for all supplies associated with our to-go lunches for our partner meals for 2 weeks. These include various size baggies, brown bags, and poly bags, which secure the daily to-go sandwich bags for our partner programs. $100. $100. And we're at about $125,000 at least right now.
$100 right here.
Thank you.
Thank you so
D'Angelo's,
much.
thank you very much.
Anybody that
Appreciate
we're missing. All right, remember all you out there in virtual land, hit that donate button. It's a great investment in our community.
Absolutely.
All right, you've heard enough of us, but again, we couldn't do anything at New Covenant Center without all of you. New Covenant Center is not us or John. It is everybody here in the community coming together to make it happen. So we really, really appreciate your generosity, and we're so grateful. Thank you, thank you.
All right.
Take it away, Tom.
Many thanks. Tom Kane.
Hello all. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, John. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tom Kane. I'm the chairman of New Covenant Center's advisory group. I'd like to thank all of you for attending our 7th annual Celebrity Soiree. We're grateful to have the guests in person in the room tonight, and we're also grateful to the viewers who have been tuning in from their homes. We look forward to hopefully having everybody in the same room next year. Yay! We wanted to extend a very special thank you to Dan and Hannah. Oh man, you guys are awesome. Rock stars, okay. I also like to express my deep gratitude to John Gutman, goes without saying, but it has to go with saying, and our dedicated New Covenant Center staff for their tireless commitment to our clients 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We know that tonight would not have been possible without the support of our generous sponsors and donors. Your contributions enable us to meet the rapidly growing costs to continue providing the meals and additional services to the needy in our community. My fellow Celebrity Soiree committee members are also deserving of our gratitude for all their time and tireless effort that we've put into this, tons of hours. As we wind down tonight's Celebrity Soiree, we hope you now, let's say, have at least a better familiarity with New Covenant Center and have learned more about the many important services that we've been providing to the community. We'd like to appeal to you to please consider making New Covenant Center your charity of choice. By the way, when I early on signed on to the board here about 7 or 8 years ago, Paul Herenstein would remember, we went to what I would call fundraising 202 school, the board did. I found out, I'm not getting off point here, anybody have any idea how many 501c3 charities there are in the state of New York? And I'll give you a hint, within the nearest 10,000. Wow. 90-something thousand charities in the state of New York. In Connecticut, it's 60-something hundred. So where I'm going with this is, being an investment banker, you know, we're all trying to get in everybody's pocket per se, and thank God, you know, we've been doing very well. So so much for that. So yes, I wanted to appeal to you, make us the charity of your choice. As you can imagine, due to the current circumstances, we've lost many of our volunteers that have been coming in to help prepare meals or assist in our food pantry, which we distribute food to our clients. By the way, we need help in the food drives throughout the year, in addition to other functions. Your donations and volunteering go directly into helping our fellow community members in the local community. If you have an interest in getting more involved with us, by the way, it could be time, treasure, or talent. We're not just looking for money from people. We have probably an ongoing 50 to 75, 100 different volunteers that are involved week in, week out with our center. And thank God, for all the energy they put in. Anyway, if you want to get involved in any capacity, please contact David Lovegreen. He's our volunteer coordinator at 203-964-8228, extension 416, or email him, and his contact information is on our website. If you wish to see our program again, or if you would like to share it with other friends or family or what have you, you'll have the ability to do that within a few days. We're going to keep it viewable for the rest of the year. Thanks again, everybody.
1 second. Okay, so thank you. If we're encouraging everyone to please make your pledges on the phone. If you have not done that, please do. And if you need any help or want to transact another way or speak to any of our people, if you go to the right-hand corner where Deborah and Betsy are waving their hands, they can help you as well. But we certainly want to have those donations recorded. So if you're having any trouble with your cell phone or haven't done it, they can help you as well. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it. And the bar will stay open for a little bit. Thank you.
You